All right. Hello, students. If you're here, it's because you're interested in learning about Article 5 of the Constitution, which is amending the Constitution. Before we do that, I wanted to start with a quick quote from one of the Founding Fathers. His name is George Mason. In 1791, so actually after the Constitutional Convention concluded, and when his state was able to look at the Constitution and decide whether or not to sign it, he said the following: "How easy it is to persuade men to sign anything by which they can't be affected." In other words, how easy it is to convince someone to agree to something that doesn't work, that probably is going to fall apart and won't actually get off the ground. It's safe to say that many of the Founding Fathers, many of the actual signers of the Constitution, didn't have that much confidence in the document. Some obviously did, including people like James Madison. However, this section of the Constitution is a hope to sort of quell those concerns. This section is about what needs to be done in order to change or amend the Constitution. Now, on your notes, there's a key word, amendment. An amendment is both a change, so an edit, think like red ink on your essay, or it's an addition. So it isn't just a change, it's also an addition. And the word that they use again is amendment. So make sure you copy down that definition. So how does the Constitution get amended? The first step is proposal. A constitutional amendment can be proposed one of two ways. The first way is by 2/3 of members of both the House and the Senate making a proposal to amend the Constitution. The second way is at a convention called by 2/3 of the states. They would also make that proposal. And the idea was simple. They wanted to balance the interests of both the states and the federal government. There's federalism again. Then the next step is ratification or approval. After an amendment is proposed in one of these two ways, it must be ratified. This can be done in one of two ways. The first way is by 3/4 of the state legislatures. So after it goes to Congress and they make the proposal, it would then go to the states. The second way is by 3/4 of the states holding a national convention and approving of the actual proposal. So imagine that the routes typically go in these columns, 1 to 1 and 2 to 2. The most common, and actually the only way that has happened so far, so if you want to put a box around it, a star next to it, whatever, is this first route. And this is the only one you're going to have to know for the Constitution test, because it's the only one that has happened. So, if these steps are completed, sort of like a bill becoming a law, the amendment is added to the Constitution. However, in order to get 2/3 of members of both the House and the Senate to agree on something, and then 3/4 of the states to meet and agree on something, that is a feat in and of itself. So here are some things you really need to consider. The overall goal: an amendment has to be approved by the state and federal level. So it's again that checks and balances, federalism. Right? But here are some things to consider. The process can take years. We know that bills becoming laws takes a long time. This is tenfold. This is a lot more difficult than that. Only 33 have ever received enough votes to actually be proposed. So only 33 have actually made it through that first step in our entire 250 years of history. Almost 250. Of those, 27 have become amendments to the Constitution, which means that only 27 have made it to step 2 on that infograph. 11,000 have been introduced. I'll say that again. 11,000 have been introduced. So the success rate of an amendment is very, very, very low. Okay, with that, you are done with your Article 5 guided notes.